Hey everyone, and thanks for joining today. We're so excited to present to you our webinar series today, wrapping up our April cloud hosting series from UDA Technologies. Today we're going to focus on portable power and show you a little bit about how you can use your UDA cloud services, your ConstructionSuite, and even other programs like your QuickBooks on your Surface Pro. I'm Holly Gibson, one of our senior product specialists here at UDA Technologies.
And this is Jordan Davis. You may recognize me from our earlier AWS Cloud Services webinars that we've been hosting throughout the month of April. Really excited to be here today to wrap up. Joined with Holly. Thanks so much for the introduction of what we're going to be talking about a bit today. For those of you who may not have made it to the earlier webinars, so far we've covered hosting ConstructionSuite in the cloud, which if you haven't seen that webinar, I highly recommend checking it out on our YouTube channel. Next, we covered what it would look like to host another very popular application, QuickBooks Desktop, on an AWS hosted server, showing that even when it's not hosted on a desktop or when it's not installed on a desktop, it runs fantastically well, in a lot of cases better, on a cloud hosted server, especially through Amazon's web hosting services, which have been, as far as we can tell, the best of the best.
Yeah, really a phenomenal success. We've just seen so much great success and performance based on what we're seeing here at UDA, and then the feedback as well that we've received from all of you who have already chosen to get started.
Right, and then the third webinar in the series was covering estimating in the cloud, which we showed how to take advantage of the power of a desktop application from anywhere. And today, the last webinar in the series, we're covering portable power, where we're going to focus on the advantages of hosting applications in the cloud and then accessing those applications on a Microsoft Surface tablet. Today, the screen that you're seeing looks very similar to a desktop computer, and that's because Microsoft has really knocked it out of the park with their Surface Pro portable tablet. It's kind of a cross between a touch screen. I don't know if you can see when I touch on the screen, there's a little jump. I just minimized our cloud hosting. So they've done a great mix of making it feel and look like a fully featured desktop system while also maintaining portability. And I know, Holly, you actually introduced a couple of years ago our work in really fine-tuning ConstructionSuite to run well on the Surface Pro. Can you tell us a little bit of your history and experience working with our clients and their interest in the Surface Pro, and really how we got to where we are today?
Yeah, definitely. Jordan, I'd love to. And I see some familiar names joining us on the webinar today. For those of you that have talked to me about this particular topic, it's no secret that I'm definitely a fan of the Surface Pro device. And it's been fun to see some of the demand and the ways that our clients are using ConstructionSuite continue to evolve with technology that we offer and technology that other companies are offering really all over the world. I mean, as our client base has continued to grow, we have just over 500,000 of you all over the world using UDA software and ConstructionSuite. There's a couple of things that have remained pretty constant even with all that growth. One is that you're seeing some phenomenal success just using ConstructionSuite. I'm always so impressed when I see what many of you are doing with the system and the types of businesses that you're running and the projects that you're working on. It's just amazing. And the other constant really has been increasing demand to not only use ConstructionSuite, but have more of it and have more flexibility in how you use it. And so part of that's been, of course, demand for a cloud-based system, which we've been really proud to offer you guys and focus on for the last few weeks. But one common question that I've seen, I've been with UDA for over 6 years, so one question that has continued to come up over the years has been, well, Holly, can I have can I have my construction suite on a tablet? Like, do I have to have it on a laptop? Do I have to have it on my computer at the office? I really want to put it on the tablet, want to have some more portability. And, when I first came on board, the answer was, for the most part, no. There were a couple of people, trying to put it on some of the tablets, but really there just wasn't the technology at the time. Nobody was offering the type of solution that Microsoft has put together with the Surface. So a few years back, when this device was first introduced, we had a lot of fun. We went through and we were so impressed with the way ConstructionSuite ran on such a small device and the portability that it would give our clients, that we actually went in and just made some enhancements to ConstructionSuite to make it compatible with some of the things that Surface does really well. So when you look at the touchscreen capability, I know you guys can't see Jordan sitting here beside me, but we're not using any sort of mouse or anything. He's just really, touching the screen, and some of the dashboard views and sorts and things like that we've put in place really works so well with that type of quick touchscreen fast work that you're wanting to do on something like a Surface. Some of the other interface changes and upgrades just to really make it more touchscreen friendly, just because we'd seen so much demand to use it in this type of environment there.
Right, and I think that looking at broader client demand, what we've seen is that need for portability, that need to access your tools and your information on the go, has only continued to grow since we first were introduced to the Surface and really bumped up ConstructionSuite's touch-friendly capabilities to the point now where, as many of you have probably heard us say a couple of times now, we've looked into a number of cloud hosting options over the years in order to further that portability and also to really increase the access of information and project sharing. And what we found now is that with the capabilities of Amazon's web hosting services, with its speed, with its reliability and performance, we're comfortable at this point to start offering more of a managed service option to our clients. And that is what you're looking at today. It might seem like we're sitting here on a Surface and we're touching around on ConstructionSuite installed on the Surface. Sort of, but not quite. We're actually looking at a cloud-hosted version or a cloud-hosted desktop. You can see the wallpapers might throw you a bit, but if you notice, the applications are a bit different, and you'll see that we're actually running on the Surface, hosted on the AWS server, all of the applications that you might want to install, say, on your desktop computer. So we're really leveraging the power and portability of Microsoft Surface, which is able to open up and then run the ridiculous power and speed of Amazon's web hosting platform pretty much anywhere.
Yeah. That's exactly right. And I think I'm so glad that you're showing this, Jordan, because one of the common questions that I've helped people with over the last few weeks when they're considering this type of setup, sometimes people will ask me, well, Holly, what does QuickBooks look like on the cloud, or what does ConstructionSuite look like on the cloud? Is it really, am I going to have access to all the same tools? Is it going to be familiar? And you can see that it is. So you've got really the same set of tools, all the power that you're used to with ConstructionSuite, but we're just accessing it directly through the cloud at this point.
Right, and I think that's a big point to make. A really important point to make is that all of the programs that you would be accessing on your Surface and on the cloud-hosted server are the exact same programs in terms of performance and power and capabilities that you would use on the desktop. A really fantastic way.
Only better though. Yeah,
right,
I mean, they're the exact same, only better, because they're running so much faster, as I know we've kind of covered in some of those previous webinars.
Right, and that is also a really great point to make. You can see that just the simple opening of a fairly complex estimate here took a fraction of a second. I don't want to knock anyone's desktop computer, so I'll knock my own. The cloud-hosted server runs every program, not just ConstructionSuite. Every program that I've seen and helped our clients set up so far better than any desktop solution, which is pretty fantastic to think about in terms of the actual capability of something like this. You can see when I say this is a fully featured estimate, I mean this really is a full estimate all the way down into line items. And we're going to get into some pretty interesting use cases and some really unique opportunities on the surface. But just from a quick glance here, you can see like this is the exact same construction suite. This is the exact same powerful desktop enterprise application that you can access now from anywhere. Realistically, we could be sitting in a really nice Starbucks right now.
We could.
Having a chat. We could be here at the UDA office, or, we could be out on the job site, connected in and making some updates. Or I think a really fun scenario to think about, and one that we were discussing earlier, Holly, would be putting together a document for one of our clients and then seeing what that would look like on the surface, and some interesting things you can do with the tools that Microsoft is providing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Maybe we should do our next webinar from Starbucks. I think that's a great idea, Jordan.
I think that
well, and we talk about speed a lot, and if you've joined some of our webinars before, you know that's one thing we really love here at UDA. We're always looking for faster, and better solutions. And so I think that's one reason why we love both of these so much. The cloud hosting that we're offering through Amazon Web Services, recommending the Surface as a great device. Part of it is because they pass the UDA speed test. I mean, they really do offer great performance, something that we're confident in recommending to our customers for sure. So we've just seen a lot there. In fact, fun story, I helped a client in Cyprus get set up with a new cloud server. So we geolocated the server in Europe for him, and I logged in from UDA headquarters in Alabama and was seeing, again, just like you said, Jordan, faster performance even halfway around the world from sitting here than I do on my own desktop. So it's just, we can't overstate enough how phenomenal the speed and performance is. I know that there are, when we kind of look at these setups individually, cloud hosting and Surface, there are definitely a lot of advantages either way, but there are definitely some unique advantages that you guys will get from combining these two types of solutions. So when we look at sort of that ultimate setup for portability, cloud access, being able to go with you to the job site, or take your Surface and go home or wherever you're going. There's some unique advantages though to having not just ConstructionSuite on your Surface, but having it on the Surface accessible through the cloud.
That's right. What we've seen is that there are some questions out there about something like the Surface. It's a fantastic tool. It's really amazing. But what if you are 3 stories up and it slips? Not to knock the Surface. I know we were just talking it up. One of the massive advantages of the cloud-hosted server is that the information, the work that you're doing, is stored and taken care of by Amazon, who is the largest and honestly the most recommended player in the cloud hosting space. Currently. We found that they are blowing all of the competition out of the water, and as part of that, what they're doing that really sets them apart is their safekeeping and constant assurance that the work that you're doing isn't going to be lost. I think that something that you might notice is that if, let's say for instance, the Surface battery were to go out, well, you've got this great enterprise application installed on it, and well, now the work that you're doing, maybe it didn't get saved. On the cloud-hosted server, however, the server is always on. It's always running. It's always keeping the same window that you were working on available. In fact, if we needed to, we could transition from this Surface Pro directly onto the desktop of our computer that we're working on kind of behind the scenes to run this webinar and access this exact same screen, meaning that all of the work that you're currently doing can go wherever you need to go and can translate over to any device that you're using. That means, thinking about some of the things that you can do on the Surface, you can set up this proposal. Let's say that you were getting ready for a client meeting and you didn't want to have to generate this proposal while you were talking. You could. There's some interesting applications there as well. But let's say that you wanted to go meet with the client and kind of talk through some of this proposal. And we get to the bottom line here, and everything makes sense. Well, now you can take advantage of something very, very interesting with the AWS server. You have your proposal sitting here, and well, as with any good proposal, we need a signature. One of the really, really interesting things about the Surface Pro is that it comes with, well, not only is it a touchscreen, but it comes with a really accurate pen. That's kind of how I've been navigating a bit once I actually started looking through this proposal here. And something that is very, very unique about this application, and something that we thought of when we were putting together the new tweaks and updates for ConstructionSuite back when the Surface first came out, is the ability to actually sign the document. So I think that this is a unique and large difference maker in the experience with your client. So for instance, imagine that Holly is my client. Well, she can actually come in and put her beautiful John Hancock right there on the page. And then when she's done, she can just hit OK. And there you go. Right there on the spot, you can get a proposal turned into a contract. And what's very, very interesting is if you are working with a team that's back at the office and they're waiting for ink on paper, well, in this case, it would be more like pixels on paper. As soon as I save this proposal into the project, it is going to instantly update the database that's accessible through AWS back in the office, which is going to let everyone waiting to get things in motion, it's going to reduce the time that it takes for them to see and to get access to the work that you or your team is out in the field doing, which is, I can't emphasize enough how much efficiency you can really find when you start taking advantage of the portability and the accessibility afforded by both something like the Surface Pro and Amazon web hosting.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think that's one of those unique advantages there where, you know, if you've got your construction suite on the Surface, you can definitely grab these signatures and do a lot of cool things. But if you're doing that and then you have someone else working in the office, then you'll have to come in and figure out, well, how do I connect that data, or let me export this file and give it to someone. You know, combining the Surface with the cloud setup, I mean, it's immediately available. So there's really no delay in transfer of that type of information, everything for the project, from being able to create a new project and have others immediately see it, to being able to, you know, create an estimate and have that immediately accessible somewhere else, or getting that signed proposal, or, you know, maybe it's making an update to the schedule or the status of a job. I mean, any of those things that you're going to be doing day to day, managing the project, are not only things that you're going to be able to manage well, but then with the setup, you've got the rest of your team, you know, everybody's really connected. You've got your cloud server set up for your construction suite, and you've got 2 people on Surfaces in the field and 1 person in the office on their desktop computer, and your Surface sitting at home maybe that you go and look at later that night. So there's just no end to the flexibility that you've got, but you can take advantage of that flexibility in a way that still keeps everybody really on the same page.
Right, and it's going to eliminate the worry of how you're going to get your work to your team. The first iteration you could think of was, well, okay, well, now I can take my project management software anywhere I go. Well, that's really great, but when you start looking at even just bringing in, say, a bookkeeper or someone that can really help out keeping track of the finances for a project, the question then became, okay, well, now how do we take the work that we've done on the Surface and really share that with other people on the team? Or maybe how do I start scaling my team and really helping them take advantage of the work that I'm doing, and how can I take advantage of the work that they're going to be helping me with? Well, now you have an answer for that, and the answer is Amazon web hosting. And we have done a lot of the heavy lifting and made sure that it's going to run not just ConstructionSuite, but, as we were mentioning in that example, things like QuickBooks. It's going to run very, very well. It's going to maintain the same financial information and transaction data. As you can see, it opens up. It is, in fact, a full QuickBooks desktop installation You don't have to worry about limitations that you might find in other platforms that might be out there. It's really going to have the tried and true tools that you need to run your business successfully. And that's really the next level when you're looking at what's possible and what you can bring to the table to really set your business up for success here in 2018. On that note, we have actually now moved at least 40 companies, not individuals, but companies, onto cloud hosting solutions. How would you say, Holly, that the transitions have gone? You know, you work really closely with me, and we've both been working with clients to help them first understand what's possible, and then next helping them put systems like this in place. How has that gone for the clients that you've worked with?
For the clients that I've worked with, it's been outstanding. And I've worked with a lot of those companies as they were transitioning over, some transitioning from other cloud providers or vendors that they weren't super happy with or that had limitations from a program standpoint. Some transitioning to the cloud for the first time just because they were like, okay, yes, now I can have my, ConstructionSuite cloud. So it's been really easy transitions. I think that's another thing that we've really tried to make sure of when we look at helping clients make that move to the cloud, is that, we want to make sure that not only do we offer that, but that we're really offering, I call it a white glove, package. We don't want you guys to have to worry about anything. So when you make the move, we're really handling setup, we're handling installation. People have really enjoyed that we're handling backups for them and updates for them. So it's been easy to move the data over. It's just a couple of backups that we grab from you guys. We do the rest of the setup on our side, and you log in and start working. So it's just been a really outstanding, just such an easy process for people.
I think one of the great things about the transition to the cloud is that, people have this concept of the cloud as, well, what is it, right? Like, that's a question that I've heard. I know that you've had people ask something really similar, like, well, what does that mean? Like, what is cloud hosting or cloud applications? And we're looking at it right now. It's everything that you could possibly want in terms of enterprise software, or just software in general to manage your business, because we're looking at a desktop right here on the spot. There's nothing, there's no hoops that you have to jump through. There's no ridiculous compromises that you would have to make in order to make this work. We're really leveraging a lot of experience and tried and true testing on our part, and also learning from the hardship and struggles that some of our clients have had before they really came to this system. And I think that the combination of the Surface Pro and AWS hosting has done wonders already for connecting team members and increasing efficiency across the board.
Yeah, definitely. It really has. And I think one of the other common questions that I get is just, how can I get more information? So I'll bring that up for you guys now in just a moment. But this is also a good time to just pause for questions. Don't forget that you can chat in as we go along. I see a couple of good questions have come through already, but remember that you can go ahead, chat in, ask any questions that you might have for us. So we'll pause for a moment to allow you guys to go ahead and do that. And while we're doing that, I'm just going to bring up some information so that we can point you guys in the right direction. If you have been excited about what you've seen today and really want to go ahead and learn a little bit more about UDA's cloud services and what we offer and what that looks like. We've got some information that I will send out in a link to all of you afterwards, so that you'll have this as a great reference. But we'll go ahead and take a look in just a moment here. And while I'm doing that, I think the other thing that I would add, and just in terms of feedback that I've seen from other people, is, really, if you've tried other vendors, if you've tried other ways to get connected before, maybe you've tried a VPN or like a go to my PC or something like that, there really is no comparison. We'd really love the chance to show you just how different it is, because I think Another common question has been, well, Holly, I've tried some of this other stuff before, and you know what? It was really slow. It's actually not. Like this is, we know that some of those other vendors out there are pretty painful in terms of speed, but this is really no comparison. We do have, again, I'll send this out to everyone, but we have a great section on our website where you can find more information about UDA's cloud services, including ways to get in touch with us, some specific information on data security and backup. I know that's something that's important to a lot of you, and something that this cloud setup does really well is make sure that it's made to scale with your business, really handles all of the security and backup for you, so you can get some of that detailed information here. You can take a look at pricing and what that would look like, or just request that one of us get in touch with you. And for all of you here today, I'll make sure and again send that information out after our meeting today.
I see a question came in already asking if they can run PlanSwift on the cloud-hosted environment, and the answer is yeah, absolutely. In fact, I've helped a couple of people already get that installed and connected with ConstructionSuite, so they can start pulling their PlanSwift estimates over into ConstructionSuite's estimating, so that they can do some of the things that we were just showing off today.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and that brings up a great point. Thanks to whoever asked that question there, because one of the things that we see is that often our clients are working with those other technology partners, and we have some really outstanding integrations, not only with QuickBooks, so we've talked about that a good bit, but with several of the CAD applications, including PlanSwift. We actually have a direct plugin that allows you to transfer data from your PlanSwift over into your on-cost estimating platform in ConstructionSuite. So it's an excellent integration that's available, and we've seen great results again for people hosting their PlanSwift on their UDA cloud as well. Let's see, it looks like, some additional questions just coming in about having full access to ConstructionSuite, which is also a definite yes. You have full access to ConstructionSuite. So I think that's one thing really to keep in mind here, is that when you are getting set up with your cloud server, it's that same ConstructionSuite that you really know and trust. It's going to be accessible from more locations, but you really have all that power that you're used to right there on the cloud.
It looks like I can see some people typing questions, so we'll be a little patient and wait for those to come in. Looks like we have maybe just a couple more minutes left. If we don't get to answering the questions right now, we'll stay around for a minute to send out some answers via text. So we'll send messages back. There are some questions that look like they're better suited to have a quick discussion over the phone, perhaps with me or with Holly. As soon as we wrap up, I see some very, very specific questions, and I don't want you to feel like we don't care and don't want to answer those questions, but I think that they're going to end up involving a good bit of questions on our side. Not to scare you or anything, but I think that I would actually be really excited to have some of these conversations I'm seeing. So your phone might be ringing in a few minutes. Yeah.
We'd love to be in touch. I see a couple of great questions out there about kind of clarifying the differences between ConstructionSuite in the cloud versus our ConstructionOnline platform, as well as similar questions about QuickBooks hosted in the cloud versus QuickBooks Online. So in both cases, you have ConstructionSuite, and that's the program that we've been looking at today. Of course, we also offer ConstructionOnline, which is a completely web-based tool. So it's a different setup. They're both really outstanding programs, and I've got so many people who are using both to meet different needs, especially with ConstructionOnline offering client access and subcontractor access, and some of those additional communication tools. So I see people using those in conjunction very, very well. With QuickBooks Online, the setup's a little bit different because normally you're using one or the other. What this does is it allows you, instead of having to switch to QuickBooks Online in order to get that flexible access to your QuickBooks, you can really, again, stay with that QuickBooks that you're used to using, but just have the flexibility of having that hosted in the cloud. Oh, and one last fun question. So I think this will be the last one, and then we want to let you guys, of course, get back to your afternoon. But the last question, it looks like someone's asking, what is AWS? So AWS is Amazon Web Services. So it is a cloud server provided through Amazon. So that is who we've chosen to partner with. We're pretty selective about the technology partners that we choose. So when we look at highlighting devices like the Surface that we've been looking at today through Microsoft, or other programs like PlanSwift and QuickBooks, we're really looking for those really heavy hitters in their industry. And Amazon definitely has just like Jordan said, knocked it out of the park with their Amazon Web Services. If you're wondering what's different about that as compared to maybe other ways of doing cloud hosting, part of what we're seeing on the screen here is, the network that we can leverage through Amazon is no comparison to what's available through other vendors or providers that you may have looked at. Amazon has the largest and most stable network of servers all over the world. So that means that when we set you up, we choose specific locations based on where you're located to give you the very best speed, performance, stability, and we're really leveraging that network that Amazon has built.
Yeah, and you might be surprised because oftentimes people think of Amazon as the consumer-facing Amazon Prime, where you can go in and order something and it shows up in 2 days. What you might not have realized until just now is that Amazon, in order to support that massive infrastructure, has over time and on the side built up one of the most unbelievable IT infrastructures out there. I mean, they're ahead of everyone, and what they've done in order to fund that is opened up their services and really started to, well, I guess you could say they found that they had a better infrastructure than everyone and realized that that was a huge opportunity for them. And so they actually turned that around into a business-facing component. And, well, what we've seen and kind of what we've shown today is that that component of Amazon has been phenomenal in terms of performance and reliability and really just ease of use and experience. I'm always happy to work with clients and help them get set up because it's so fun to connect into somewhere like Sydney, Australia and have it run as fast as my computer. It's a pretty unbelievable experience when you think about it in a larger sense. And really, I hope that this has been helpful for you to think about where your business and where your work can take you and how really we can help you make things easier moving forward. So with that said, thank you all so much for your time this afternoon. We would be happy to continue the conversation and to answer more questions with you. You can always give us a call at 1-800-700-8321 or send us an email. You can shoot us a message to info@uda1.com. We'd be happy to help out in any way that we can.
Thank you guys so much for spending some time with us this afternoon. Have a great rest of your day.